Friday, Saturday night's main event go-home episode of SmackDown draws the lowest viewership and ratings numbers in SmackDown history. We'll let you know all the details on that. Plus, WWE President Nick Khan has attempted to justify WWE's substantial increase in ticket prices. All this and more in this news update. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with record low numbers for WWE Friday Night SmackDown on USA Network. WWE SmackDown's viewership has steadily declined over the past month following the introduction of Nielsen's new Big Data Plus panel rating system, which has negatively affected wrestling ratings across the board. However, this past Friday, the Blue brand was not only up against Game 6 of the World Series, but also aired on Halloween night, which led to the show drawing historic low totals. According to WrestleNomics and Programming Insider, SmackDown averaged 933,000 viewers and posted a 0.20 in the key 18 to 49 demographic, which are the lowest numbers for both categories in the show's history. When comparing the results to the previous week, total viewership decreased by 19%, while the 18 to 49 demo dropped by a staggering 31%. Since October 2024, SmackDown has lost 29% of its audience, but perhaps more concerning is its decline in the key demographic, which has fallen by nearly 50% over the past year. Although SmackDown's ratings suffered from many celebrating Halloween, the quest for championship gold between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers definitely had the largest impact on the night, with 17.4 million viewers tuning in to the World Series game. WWE also faced college football competition on Friday, with the game between North Carolina and Syracuse charting above the Blue brand in the 18 to 49 demo. Along with the viewership continuing to decrease, WWE's ticket sales have also failed to improve as of late. SmackDown hailed from the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah last week and only managed to sell just over 4,200 tickets for the event, which is a 50% decline since the promotion's last visit to the venue. Going forward, hopefully SmackDown, according to WWE sources, will bounce back with the MLB playoffs concluding and Survivor Series on the horizon, but the show will continue to face strong competition from the NHL and NBA throughout the winter. Now, TKO, they revealed their latest revenue report, of course, the parent company of WWE and UFC. They announced their third quarter 2025 financial results. The company announced a revenue of $1.120 billion, which is down 27% from the second quarter. UFC revenue was down 8% to $325.2 million, but WWE revenue was up 23% to $402.1 million. WWE's and UFC's parent company TKO released a full press release. All of the details on that are in the video description below. Now, one of the big points of contention recently with WWE when it comes to fans are ticket prices, of course. WWE has increased ticket prices for live events over the years, leading to record gates in multiple markets in the past 2 years. Fans have criticized WWE for the increase in ticket prices, but WWE President Nick Khan says the prices have increased relative to the marketplace. Speaking on the TKO 2025 third quarter financials call, Khan was asked about live event revenue and if it was pricing versus capacity driving the figures. He said, quote, "It's both. Capacity continues to be very high. We've increased prices appropriately with the marketplace. That's for the PLEs, Raw, SmackDown, Saturday Night's Main Event, and every other ticketed program that WWE has. We remain bullish on it. A couple of years ago, when TKO was put up, one of the first things we collectively did was reduce the non-televised live events, which created more scarcity in the marketplace for our televised events, and our continued international expansion only furthered that. In January, you'll see us on a European tour for Raw and SmackDown leading into Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. Tickets already on fire for that event, and it creates more scarcity in the United States, which is a good thing in terms of our overall gauge," he said. Now, WWE, as I mentioned, had $31.4 million increase in live events and hospitality revenue in the third quarter. Their overall revenue for the quarter, as I mentioned, was reported at $402.1 million. Now, they also spoke about the brand new relationship between WWE and ESPN. Now, WWE's partnership with ESPN officially kicked off with the WrestlePalooza premium live event airing on ESPN's new direct-to-consumer service in September. The app has since aired the Crown Jewel Perth PLE and will host Survivor Series War Games on November 29th. How the partnership has played out thus far was delved into during said earnings call. WWE President Nick Khan and TKO President and COO Mark Shapiro had the following to say on the matter. Khan said, quote, "So by the way, we're thrilled with the start of it. So it's obviously a new product. It's a new platform. If you notice any of the promotion going into our first event with them, WrestlePalooza, which is a new event for us, which we're really pleased with, you saw wall-to-wall coverage on all the ESPN platforms, so much so that on College Game Day, the morning of WrestlePalooza, you had the entire panel, Pat McAfee, Coach Saban, Kirk Herbstreit, Desmond Howard, Reese Davis, all predicting the winner of Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. It was phenomenal. It's going to take time for ESPN to grow that platform the way they want to grow it. We're patient. We'll continue to put our product the way that we think we can only do, and let's see where we can end up." Shapiro said, quote, "ESPN can be one of the best marketing partners in the media space. When they strategize and get behind something, we've seen that firsthand with the UFC. And to Nick's point, WrestlePalooza was an incredible launch. Great for our brand, great exposure out there in some of their most prominent shows with some of their most prominent talent promoting our events. We want to sustain that. We need to sustain that. And I think at the same time, it's extremely important to us, and we're watching like everybody else, to see that if they renew a lot of their distribution partner deals, that they get the ability to authenticate for free. So ESPN, D2C, if you're a so-and-so subscriber, I'm not going to get into who has it and who doesn't. Some of these folks can just authenticate and they can get the D2C partnership for free. So you just carry the app. Others are paying $29.99, and it's their goal, of course, to redo all their transition deals and get these consents, and we're anxious to see that happen. YouTube TV is a prime example of that. Switching over to AEW, and another championship has been announced by AEW President Tony Khan. AEW is introducing a new championship as Tony Khan announced the creation of the AEW National title. Khan said the first champion will be crowned at AEW Full Gear in a casino gauntlet match. AEW Full Gear takes place on November 22nd. He also said the title will be defended across multiple promotions, including Ring of Honor and New Japan Strong. On AEW Dynamite, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Ricochet were confirmed as entrants into said Casino Gauntlet match at AEW Full Gear. Tony noted the history of the National Championship in Georgia Wrestling and Mid-Atlantic Wrestling as maybe an inspiration for this title. Now, a latest development when it comes to Ridge Holland, and it's not looking good for the former WWE superstar. On October 13th, Ridge Holland announced that his WWE contract would not be renewed when it expires on November 14th. Fightful Select confirmed with WWE that they've now terminated Ridge Holland's contract early after his recent tweets about the company's decision not to renew his contract. Now, this comes after Holland posted the following statement on social media on November 4th. We covered it here on the channel. He said, quote, "I never thought I'd not be able to pay my mortgage. I feel like I've just been hung out to dry after getting injured, working for another company on behalf of WWE. Add to that my contract not being renewed, knowing that I wouldn't be able to wrestle for 7 months. This is brutal. Yes, they're taking care of the surgery and physical therapy, but let's be honest, that's the bare minimum after what we sacrificed for the company. Plus the possibility of having to get my neck fused too. Talk about getting totally fucked." Now, Holland is currently sidelined for months with a Liz Frank injury suffered at the TNA Impact tapings in September. Now, the deal was originally set to go until mid-November, of which he'd be paid. Now, it was strongly suggested that he won't be paid for the remaining period, so they've actually cut his contract. Word within WWE, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, is that they considered some of his recent social media posts as a breach, and the call was made to release him early from his contract. Now, going back over to AEW, and a match has been confirmed for next week's AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts special. Hangman Adam Page will be competing. Last night, the November 5th episode of AEW Dynamite was headlined by a trios match between the Ops and the team of Hangman Page, Hook, and Eddie Kingston. The match was contested for the AEW World Trios Championships. Near the end of the bout, Powerhouse Hobbs took out Page in brutal fashion, slamming him off a stage and through a table. Hobbs returned to the ring moments later, where the Ops retained their gold. As the show came to a close, commentary revealed that Hangman Page will battle Powerhouse Hobbs in a Falls Count Anywhere match on the November 12th episode of Dynamite, that of course being the Blood and Guts special. Speaking of Blood and Guts, Megan Bayne was victorious in her Blood and Guts Advantage match. Megan Bayne has momentum heading into the event next week as the November 5th episode of AEW Dynamite came to a close. Megan Bayne and Mina Shirakawa battled in the first women's Blood and Guts Advantage battle match. Megan Bayne gained the early lead for her team, defeating Mina Shirakawa via pinfall after crushing her with a running Liger bomb. The second Advantage match will take place on AEW Collision, with Jamie Hayter taking on Sky Blue. If things are still tied up after that bout, Harley Cameron and Tekla will battle in a third match to determine the winning team. And we also had these Advantage matches for the men's side of things for Blood and Guts next week. After a brief opening segment between Hangman Page and Samoa Joe, the November 5th episode of AEW Dynamite was kicked off by a singles match between Claudio Castagnoli and Orange Cassidy. This was the first match in the men's Blood and Guts Advantage battle. In the end, Castagnoli was able to gain the early advantage for his team, defeating Cassidy to give the Death Riders the 1-0 advantage. Later on in the night, Darby Allin and Daniel Garcia faced off in the second men's Blood and Guts Advantage match. After a lengthy and violent fight, Darby Allin was able to make Garcia submit with a Scorpion Deathlock to tie up the series 1-1. The tiebreaker will take place on the November 8th episode of AEW Collision, as Jon Moxley will take on Roderick Strong. The winner will earn the advantage for their Blood and Guts team for the match next week. Now, an upset last night on AEW Dynamite in the AEW Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament. Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron have taken a massive step to becoming the inaugural champions. The November 5th episode of AEW Dynamite featured another first-round match in the tournament to crown the first ever AEW Women's Tag Team Champions. This bout featured Athena and Mercedes Moné taking on the Babes of Wrath, of course that being Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale. During the final moments of the match, Billy Starks ran down to the ring in an attempt to help Athena out. Chris Statlander ran down and took her out with a clothesline before any shenanigans could take place. Moments later, Willow Nightingale planted Athena with her signature powerbomb. Harley Cameron followed that up with her finishing move to score the victory. With the huge upset, Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron will now face the Sisters of Sin, that being Julia Hart and Sky Blue, at a later date. Julia Hart and Sky Blue picked up a first-round victory over the duo of Queen Aminata and Jamie Hayter on the October 29th episode of Dynamite. Now, several matches have been confirmed for AEW Full Gear, one being a TNT Championship match. Weeks after being rejected, Mark Briscoe once again approached Kyle Fletcher on the November 5th episode of AEW Dynamite. Briscoe inquired with Fletcher about another shot at the TNT Championship, saying he wants a response from the Proto-Star himself. Briscoe went on to propose that the match happen at Full Gear with a no disqualification stipulation. Fletcher was a fan of the idea, but Don Callis added some extra weight, agreeing to the match on one condition. Briscoe will have to join the Don Callis family if he loses. This will be Briscoe's 6th singles match against Kyle Fletcher. Things have been in the favour of Fletcher lately, as he's won the past 3 matches. All of those wins have taken place in 2025. In addition to that, a big trios match has been confirmed for Full Gear, as Kenny Omega and Jurassic Express will take on the Don Callis family's Josh Alexander, who's teaming up with the Young Bucks, with $1 million being on the line. A bit of an update here on the angle that took place last week on AEW Dynamite, the Fright Night Dynamite special. Hangman Page was involved in another memorable Halloween angle on AEW Fright Night Dynamite, as Page, disguised as Tony Schiavone, was able to sneak up behind Samoa Joe following his victory to become the new #1 contender for Page's AEW World Championship. Schiavone, who appeared to be in the ring as the Phantom of the Opera, heaped praise upon Joe and Page during the segment until who we thought was Schiavone suddenly bellowed, "Long may he reign," as the Schiavone in the ring was revealed to be the AEW World Champion. Page then took down Powerhouse Hobbs and Katsuyori Shibata with low blows before taking out Joe with a beer bottle shot to the head and a buckshot lariat. Appearing on What Happened When, Tony Schiavone revealed that the angle had been in the works for a couple of weeks, and Page tried to mirror Schiavone's mannerisms backstage to make himself look more like the AEW announcer. Quote, "It was a very good angle. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. Hangman had talked to me about this for a couple of weeks. I was like, sure, whatever you want to do, it's fine. I wasn't sure what day it was going to happen. He talked about it for a couple of weeks, and then it hit me, of course, Halloween edition," Schiavone said. "We worked on the exchange of the tie, the glasses, and the jacket. We both had white shirts on. He had put a little padding on his midsection. I said, hang on just 1 second. I don't think I'm that fat. He said, I don't think so either, but I'm going to put this padding on. It's okay. Then he said, I need to watch how you walk and see how you walk. I was walking backstage and he would start walking. I said, oh, you walk like an old effing man. I don't walk like an old effing man. Then I thought, I am an old man, so maybe I do. It happened. We had a lot of people help us out. To be honest, I was skeptical about it, as I am about many things that we do, but he pulled it off. He really did. The fans really popped, and it ended up being really cool. And finally, speaking of Fright Night, we have the ratings for the Fright Night edition of AEW Collision last Saturday. Saturday's AEW Collision drew 217,000 viewers on TNT, which is down from the prior week's show 228,000 viewers, down 5%. That week's show was notable for being taped and not a live show, and for going head-to-head against WWE Saturday Night's Main Event as well. It drew a 0.03 rating in the 1849 demographic, which is down 25% from last week's 0.04. The streaming viewership numbers for the simulcast on HBO Max, of course, is currently not known. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.